Hi, welcome to Proud Veteran Outreach. My name is Jim Jurowitz. I am a Vietnam-era military veteran, and today's show is Support Dogs for Veterans. And our show is brought to you by the Vet Centers of Minnesota, located in Brooklyn Park, St. Paul, and Duluth. And our purpose is to find the isolated veteran and offer them support and help. And we invite citizens to participate in that support by identifying the veteran that may be living next door to them or living in isolation. And the issues that we are addressing is there's a high suicide rate with military veterans. 23 commit suicide a day. There's a high homeless rate. 25% of all homeless people are military vets. And of course, veterans live in pain every day. So 48% of all of the veterans are in pain every day. So today, our guest is Patty Robinson from Project Delta. And Patty addresses the pain and offers support for the vets with Project Delta. So Patty, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Would you please introduce Project Delta to our audience and tell us what you do?
Yes, we are a nonprofit organization that supports veterans that are suffering from PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and military sexual trauma. We work with the rescue and the shelter world by extensively screening these dogs for a balance and a temperament and a desire to serve. We then pair them with these veterans, and after a fostering period of time, they become their service dog in training. And after an extensive period of time working with our trainers, they become their service dog.
And how long has Project Delta been in business?
We incorporated in April of 2016. We launched in August of 2016, and then we paired our first team in November of 2016. After a period of adjustment and after a period of time, we reevaluated the program, made some changes, and we've been actively pairing since.
And so you're a nonprofit organization,
yes.
so our civilian audience out there could make some donations.
They could.
And you'll give that information later on, I hope.
I will.
And so if you've been in business that long, how many veterans do you support or have you supported over the years?
Well, that's a good question. We highly screen these veterans specifically for the desire to get better. Mm-hmm. They have to have significant accountability, skin in the game, mm-hmm. and a desire to get better. So not everybody can receive a dog. Not every veteran is in a place in their life to be able to work this program because it is a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So currently we have 10 teams in place. We've graduated one. We're ready to graduate another. We have three that we are looking for dog placement right now, and we have quite a few that are in the paperwork process right now. So we're growing responsibly, and that takes time.
So what makes Project Delta different from the other half dozen support dog organizations out there?
There's several in the Twin Cities, and they're all doing really, really good work. What separates us and makes us a little bit different, first we use the rescue and the shelter world. There are amazing dogs, and there are, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 250 rescues currently right now in the Twin Cities, or I should say Minnesota area. I love the rescue world because it gives them a chance to, it gives us a chance to look at these dogs and give them a second chance as well. We are not housed in a facility. We are a mobile program, so we have veterans that are sprinkled all throughout the Twin Cities. And rather than having them come to a facilitated building, we are out there in the community. We are actively training in the community. We are working with veterans in their community and hitting the places in which they want to get acclimated to again, the various places they want to get comfortable being in, whether it's their everyday life of shopping or the things that they want to be able to do, whether it's going to a movie, going to a sporting event, going to their children's event, going to work.
Yeah, going to church.
Going to church, going to church, and that's really, really important to them.
So why did you do this? Why did you start this?
That's a good question. I have never served myself. I am a nurse by trade, and I've been doing that for over 30 years. My husband's retired Army, and I have a son who's a Marine. My father was a World War II veteran. I became very active in the support process for families, particularly in the Marine Corps. My son graduated as a Marine. I started volunteering by supporting recruit families that everything from boot camp all the way through their deployments and then transitioning back. I didn't seek out doing this, but what I noticed was transitional issues when veterans, when active duty military were coming home from deployments or they were exiting out of the military. I think I mentored upwards of 7,500 families, and I started seeing patterns. I was involved in the rescue shelter world, so I saw that these dogs, some of these dogs were very unique and special. With these transitional holes, I knew that there were good therapies through the VA, there were medications through the VA, but I would see these holes with veterans and noting the isolation and wondered why they were isolating, and I would see this loss of purpose. And that was a big thing, is
Right.
realizing that they went from structured lives with real meaning and real purpose when they were
Right.
serving to now I'm home, I'm in this civilian world, and as much as we as civilians try to understand what veterans, what the military experienced, whether in combat or just the day-to-day grind of being in the military, it's really a challenge. And I wanted to do something to fill that hole.
Great. So your service is exclusively with veterans. So
Right now, yes, it really, really is. That's my passion. My passion's the veteran world. My other passion is the dog world, and by happenstance, I was introduced to the concept through a different organization that was doing it in a different part of the country, and it really, I hate to use that aha moment kind of thing, but that's
Right.
really what happened. It was, wait a minute, we can pull these together, and we can be an additional tool. These dogs can be an additional tool.
So there's different functions that these dogs perform, and,
Yes.
and so how do you differentiate them, and how do you, I don't know, select a dog to perform these different functions? So what are the different functions they
What's
perform?
really, I mean, before you can even talk about the functions they perform, you have to understand what kind of dog is going to be successful at this. You asked what makes us different. I think what's really, really important to me and those that work with Project Delta is the integrity of the dog. We are serving a human. However, they can speak to us. They can talk to us. We can troubleshoot issues that are going on in their life or their training. With the dog, they don't speak. And we have to advocate for those dogs. And it's really, really important to be able to do that. So you're looking at basic temperament and balance and a desire to be able to be comfortable in that public spectrum, and being the dog being comfortable in public is then going to make the veteran comfortable in public, because that's a problem for them.
Sure.
And so what makes us a little different is I don't want these dogs to be a barrier for a veteran, but a bridge.
So what is the difference between a service dog and a therapy dog, and of course an emotional dog?
support.
Yeah.
Well, they all perform emotional support. However, a service dog is a very task-specific dog. You have to perform tasks that mitigate a diagnosis. And in our case, the three main diagnoses we're working with is the post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, and military sexual trauma. We're also starting to get involved with some of the mobility issues related to veteran issues. So they're task specific, minimum of 2, but the majority of these dogs perform multiple tasks that are very individualized to their handler. A therapy dog is a very extensively trained dog, very balanced, very easygoing dog, but they don't have public access that a service dog has. They are invited into organizations, whether it's a school, a hospital, a hospice unit, the VA, just various places. They're invited to perform, to come in and give comfort. And then the emotional support animal is kind of a gray, trendy, it's a pet. It's a pet where in places that doesn't otherwise rent to somebody with a dog, they can be housed in those places if the insurance of that
Sure.
establishment allows a specific breed to come in. So they're different. They don't have public access.
Okay, so on our previous shows, we've talked about PTSD, and I don't want to sweep this under the rug, so if we can talk a little bit further about it.
Yeah.
What is military sexual trauma? How would a dog help in that process, and how I would like to put a little more light on that, because
Right.
too long it's been in the closet.
It is in the closet, and that's a really tough word to say, and it took me a while to really understand and accept that this exists. And it exists for a multitude of reasons, but the fact is it's real. Military sexual trauma occurs, and it's a form of PTSD. And so there are triggers that go along with that, just like there is with PTSD. And what's necessary is getting to know the veteran, the trainer getting to know the veteran, our support people through the VA, their providers, the vet centers and everything. They're working with these veterans to understand how the dog can improve the quality of life, whether it's nightmares, night terrors, being isolated, being able to navigate in a vehicle, going from their home, just getting into a car,
Sure.
driving down the road, being able to look at what's the surroundings and understand that they are safe. These dogs innately have the ability to be trained with cues for processes, to step into a building. Again, I don't want the dogs to be barriers. They're a bridge to allow these things to happen, and the dogs, some of it's organic. And then we recognize it and we put cues to it. We show the veteran what the dog is providing. We show the dog what they see, and it's time and time and time and positive reinforcement to just nail that skill.
So what is expected of the veteran? How does the veteran get involved or get introduced or learn about Project Delta?
It's been interesting. We're definitely getting rooted in the community, and whether it's through the VA systems, or is it through our social media and our website, whether it's the vet centers, through our veteran-supported organizations. We work with VFWs and American Legion, so a lot of it can be word of mouth. Once we got a few veterans in place, they're telling their stories to their support groups and such, and they're contacting. Once they do, I'm kind of the point person, and I have a conversation with them. There's an extensive paperwork process that has to be filled out, because the reality is this is not easy. It's extraordinarily rewarding and beneficial to the veteran, but we do not provide a trained dog. We have a balanced, well-screened dog that they're going to pair with and work together. So
And how long does that process take?
It's dependent. It's an average of about 12, 14, 15 months from the time the actual training begins.
Wow. Yeah, it's not instant gratification.
No, and there's highs and lows with it.
Yeah.
And because this is an animal, and this is a dog, and it takes time.
And because you're a mobile company, you're coming out on site to
Yes.
that person.
Yep, or their area.
Yeah, okay, good. That's great.
I love it.
Wonderful service, yeah.
It's really cool.
So how does a dog, a service dog, improve the situation on PTSD and more importantly about traumatic brain
Traumatic
injury?
brain, yeah, that's tough, because it's medication reminders. It's simply being able to allow a veteran to get into a vehicle and get to training.
Yeah.
That in itself is a win.
Sure.
A veteran getting up in the morning and having a purpose. I have to get up. I have to let my dog out. I have to feed my dog. I have responsibilities. I have purpose again for something. It takes their mind off of the things that have been impeding them from having that good quality of life.
And is the dog, your program primarily focused on the individual vet, or is it a vet living within a family? What is?
I've got all of it right now.
Yeah,
Some of
okay.
them, they need support system.
Yeah.
And while the trainers are not mental health providers, and
Right.
I'm not a mental health provider, we're collaborating with mental health.
Yeah.
And especially, like with Lina with the vet center, she's been instrumental in helping us and being that bridge for the mental health piece of it.
Sure.
It's really been wonderful.
Great. So how do you train these dogs?
I'm not a trainer, so
Right,
I
right.
have fantastic trainers.
And how long is the training process for a normal dog, an average dog?
Like I said, average 12, 14, 15 months.
Okay.
You have you're going to begin with just basic obedience and just basic leash
And you're
walking.
doing this at your training facility? Or?
We don't have it. We're doing that out in public,
field.
in pet-friendly areas,
Okay.
in their home, public access areas, coffee shops, you name it.
And you're sourcing the dogs from the rescue?
Yes. Yes.
And if somebody doesn't want their dog anymore and they want to donate their dog to you, has that ever happened?
I have that request all the time, but I always have to go back to the very basic.
Yeah.
These dogs have to have the right temperament.
Yeah.
They have to be balanced, and we have to screen them for a desire to want to do that, because they're working and they have to be comfortable, they have to be excited, they have to be willing, and that takes time to screen that process. That's why they're in foster, they're with their rescue fosters. Once we've kind of met criteria, we move them into our own foster process. So there's a lot of backstory and a lot of back work prior.
Is there one breed that may be better than another?
That is asked all the time, and we are not breed specific. I told the story earlier this morning that any dog that is excited and has a desire to do this can serve. Now we're talking a 10-pound dog to a 110-pound dog. However, we're forced with to deal with the issue of imposters that are out there. Service dogs are trendy, and people want to take their dogs everywhere, and it's really easy to get.
Sure.
Access.
I think we have an insert of some of the dogs that we can show to our audience.
Yes, and we will do that.
Hopefully that comes through.
Yes. So no breeds specific,
Okay.
but in order to eliminate extra stress and anxiety and being on display for a veteran who's learning to navigate life again, learning to navigate the public spectrum again, learning how to just engage in social pleasantries, getting into buildings that are crowded and stuff, the last thing I want for them is for the safety of their dog, pick up a small dog and hold it. It automatically sets them up for a line of questioning that is challenging. So these are not dogs that are going to be your standard toy breeds.
And so how is this program financed? Is there any cost to the veteran?
No.
How does it work?
That's the great part of this, and that has been my desire. Is I have been so blessed with an onslaught of support through veteran organizations, local VFWs, American Legions, Legion Riders, from here in Brooklyn Center to Maple Grove to Apple Valley, Coon Rapids, the Uptown VFW, and one of our biggest supporters has been the Zimmerman Legion Riders, who is actually, we are one of their main sponsors, and they fundraise for us, and that has allowed me the foundation to grow. I've been donated twice now, an incredible donation from the Petco Foundation that has been a game changer.
Great. So what I'm hearing, though, and again, this is for our viewing public, We're reaching out to you and asking you
Yes.
to help. What I'm hearing is that most of your support is coming from other veterans.
Yes.
And so what we'd like to do is to invite the public to participate
Yes.
in this.
Yes. You know, and we have individual donors. Maurice Subaru of Minnetonka donated a vehicle to us, which has been, of course, we're mobile, so that too is a game changer. This is a community effort, and that's what separates us. That's what I feel is so different, is yes, I have employees that are doing this. I have people that are training. We have an infrastructure put in place, but the community is really involved. It's something that they can hang their hat on, that they are supporting their, people are patriotic. They want to help.
Yeah.
They love dogs and they love veterans. And when you bridge the two together, the community wants to help, and they can. And there's other ways besides, you know, dollars and physical donations. They can.
So if the public out there wants to help, you know, support you and do
Yes.
some of the work, how do they get involved, or how can they engage with you to take
Yes.
some of the workload off of you?
Obviously, you know, checking out our social media and our website, and you can see, you know, there's places to donate. One of our biggest things that we need, though, is we need fosters. We need people that are willing to take these amazing animals in for a period of time to allow us to screen properly, to ensure that it's a good fit for the dog. They're not screening pets to be adopted, but service animals, and that's a huge part, and that's a big ask.
Sure.
But it really
And
is an important
there's a
piece.
food cost to feeding these dogs. So if a foster takes one in, is the burden of that cost on the, or that comes through?
That's all on me.
Comes through.
The support for, you know, all of the necessary supplies, everything necessary to be a successful foster is on us, along with the orientation and the training and the support of the trainers to assist them in taking this on.
Will you take dog food donations?
Oh, we take any donation.
So we could initiate
Yes,
a collection
yes,
campaign.
Yes, these
Yeah,
dogs
maybe-
are working dogs. They need good food. They need good supplies.
And maybe
Yes.
we can do an Earth Day dog
Love
food
it.
collection campaign.
I would love it.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd
great.
be fabulous.
All right, then how can how does an individual make a donation? What is the process of doing that?
So there's a couple different ways. Our website, which is www.project-delta.org. There's a donate button on there. Our Facebook page, you can search Project Delta MN. It pops up there. There's a donation. We have merchandise that you can purchase, t-shirts, sweatshirts that are, you know, through the website. We have an Instagram site. I'm presuming you put all of those up. I don't remember all the lingo for it.
Do any of the other nonprofit organizations that may be giving grants, are they? Do you ever pursue them?
We right now, I'm always in search for it. Actually, it's a lot of work to do grants and everything. We have a nice template all set up. I would happily speak to anybody about this. I can talk about this day in and day out. So.
Well, not
Yes.
with me. I need to sleep. That's great. Okay, and then, we've covered on how people can help.
Yes.
So the good news is, what are you doing with the vet centers? How is your relationship with the vet centers? And
I love
thank the
them.
vet centers for introducing us.
Oh, I know, and I've been working with Lina Knox. She's been fantastic, and her people there, they have, she's connected me with specific veterans that are currently in our program. They have offered resources and space and just the ability to get the word out. We're here. We're here for veterans that want to get better. We're here for veterans that want this to be an additional tool, not a substitution for their mental health, but an addition. And it's a game changer when they put the work into it, when they're committed and accountable to the program. It works. It changes their life. And it's really amazing. It's really amazing
And so
to see.
when you have a successful relationship between a vet and a support dog, Do you ever make testimonials or presentations or demonstrations?
Yes.
Do you ever go to any schools or clubs or any of that
Well,
nature?
Outreach?
Outreach?
Yep, we've done that, and we're doing that, and with more, now that we're getting more traction, these veterans love to talk about their dogs. It's what they're good at. They're good at, this is what they're comfortable with, and they'll talk about it. They attend events with us. We have an event coming up with Min Challengers, which is a car show that'll be coming up in June.
Where will that be located?
That's a good question, and I
Well,
will have to
then-
get it back to you.
Okay, so then we only have a few seconds left here, so why don't you give us your phone number?
Yes.
So somebody can call you and get the answer to that question.
That is 763-229-7083 is my personal number, my cell phone number. Call me at any time.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much for
coming.
having me.
All right, I
It's
appreciate
been great.
it. Thanks,
Thank
Patty.
you.
There you go. Rolling your...
Wow.